For today's cook, we're going to be cooking some smoked mac and cheese and some wings. And my wife had this idea for a plate of some greens and some sweet potatoes, just an old-fashioned cookout plate. She's going to handle the vegetables for me, and then we're going to knock out the rest of this stuff. Put it on the smoker today. So it should turn out to be pretty nice. The first thing we've got to do is go and get us some good cheese. With mac and cheese, it's always a good idea to include like a sharp cheddar, something that's really going to cut through. And then some kind of stinky cheese, you know what I'm talking about, something that's just going to give you a little bit of a twang to it. So for me, I'm going to use some sharp cheddar, also some Asiago, Romano, Colby Jack, a little Monterey. I might even toss in some Parmesan or something like that, something just to keep it a little bit different and off balance, but still tasting good. Now, while I'm doing that and getting all my cheeses separated and the fire's actually going well, I'm going to go ahead and get my wings and all seasoned up real nice, Today I'm going to be using John Henry's pecan rub. I really like this rub, nice and mild in flavor. You can use it on all kinds of stuff. We use it on fish, we use it on chicken, as you can tell. Also, use this one on some ribs and things like that. Smoker's ready to go, looking really nice. We'll go ahead and get this thing going. When I put the chicken on the smoker, I'm going to make sure to put them closer to the firebox. That way they get a little bit more of that direct heat as they're closer to the flame and can really get maybe kissed a little bit by that. That way they get a little bit more of that crispiness on the skin and can really firm up a bit instead of getting some of that flappy stuff that you can sometimes get if you don't cook it at a high enough temperature. Once your noodles are boiled and done almost al dente, I'll call it, you can kind of put down a nice little layer of these noodles, probably about a third or so of the noodles. And then we're just going to get this cheese that we made and we shredded and place it all across the top. We're going to take about a third of the cheese from one pile, put in there, get another third or so from another pile and put it in there. We're just mixing all of the cheese together. Piece by piece, we're just building a layer of noodles, then cheese. And then, even though I don't show it, just know that I did do it, we're going to get our next layer of noodles and layer those noodles down again and get even more cheese and just keep layering and putting on top of it, making sure that every layer has enough noodles and cheese and just spread it all throughout the pan. That way we've got a nice blend of noodles, cheese, and flavors all over. I shredded my cheese this time by hand, bought one of those blocks and just kind of shred it by hand because folks said that, sometimes there's some chemical agents or something like that inside of the cheese where they cake up a little bit if you don't shred them. So I thought, hey, why don't I go ahead and do the whole shredding process myself. It did take a little bit of time and, a little bit of manpower, but, that said, if it turns out a better product, then it's well worth it. So we're just going to layer this cheese on piece by piece, making sure we hit all the corners and try and be as even as possible. But, nobody's perfect. But that if you miss a spot on the next time you come around for another layer, you can get it again. But again, noodles, cheese, noodles, cheese, noodles, cheese. And we'll do that until we're filled all the way up with no more noodles or cheese left in our pan. Our next step is to get a couple of eggs and some milk, a little bit of salt, put in our blender. I'll put the recipe down below. I found this off of another YouTube video and I might link him to in the description as well. But we're going to get that in there and blend this all together. That way we have a nice mixture of some liquid that can go and spread throughout that and add a little bit of goodness to the whole pan that we have here. If I were to do this again, I'd probably add a little bit more liquid to this, just so it has more to balance out throughout. Not so it's, pouring over your pan or anything, but enough so that you know that you've got enough liquid inside there so that everything really melts together. But we'll go ahead and go with this for now, and it looks pretty good. So when we're done with that step, all we're going to do is take our blended mixture here and just pour it directly into the pan. No rhyme or reason. You just kind of pour it in there a little bit slowly so we're not messing up our nice mixture of noodles and cheese that we had going there. And we're just gonna pour it all in there and get it done. Sometimes when folks do this, it actually gets all the way up to the top of the pan. And that made me a little bit nervous that when I poured mine in there, I didn't have the liquid getting all the way up to the top. I couldn't see it. And so that's why I thought maybe I should add a little bit more, but yeah, we'll do that for next time. Once we're done, we're gonna go ahead and make sure it's all nice and even. Get us some foil and cover it up. This mac and cheese is ready to go on the smoker. We're gonna let it cook in there before we smoke it, just so it can get nice and warm. The reason why is I don't want the smoke flavor to get too hard, too intense inside this mac and cheese. We want it to be kissed by the smoke, but not really just permeating throughout. That way it still has that nice flavor of some macaroni and cheese, but just a nice flavor, smell of, hey, this was cooked on a smoker, wasn't it? After about 45 minutes to an hour, I go and check and look at everything in here, and man, this mac and cheese, the cheese is melting really nice and things are turning out pretty good. So that's going well, but hold on, look over here to the right. That chicken is really looking nice, so I might want to address that. Go ahead and put the top back on this mac and cheese. It's not quite ready. I gave that chicken a little bit more time, but now I'm going to go ahead and put some sauce on there. Today, we're going with the very simple, the very easy crowd pleaser, Sweet Baby Ray's. So we're just going to go ahead and put some Sweet Baby Ray's on top of these, on this chicken. And, in my family, I want people to eat the food, so I give them what they want. Sweet Baby Ray's is what they want, and that's what they're going to have today. As I finish putting the sauce on these wings and this chicken thighs, I want to go and make sure that I'm going to take the top off of the macaroni and cheese. It's getting closer and closer to done, and I do want it to have a little bit of that smoke flavor running across it. So I'm going to get that smoke going. And now, once I've had 15 minutes or so to let the wings set, and I can see that sauce is all nice and smooth, I'm going to go ahead and pull the wings off and get those off the smoker first. Yep, these look pretty good. Yeah, I can serve this to my family. This will be all right. Now it's time for the moment of truth. I'm gonna pull off this macaroni and cheese and we'll see how it goes. First glance, looks legit. Looks like a good old baked macaroni and cheese. Now, the real test is to see, how the stuff actually tastes, texture. You know the drill. Sounds good. Wow, it's a little gooey here. Uh-oh. Having a Cliff Huxtable moment here. I've got to patch this thing up. Looks good. All right. This is a good plate. Time to eat. This is good stuff. This is good stuff. It doesn't have to be on the smoker. It doesn't. But it just adds something different. So it's not going to be like everybody else's. I mean, never is, but it's good. I will say that the one thing that I noticed when I was cooking it and I was concerned was like, oh, is it just going to be some noodles and some cheese? And there isn't that sauce that kind of glues it all together that you get out of a lot of other types of macaroni and cheese. And so if that's something that you're really looking for, like, oh, I want that sauce that goes in there that combines it all together, that's missing from here. But that said, when you taste this, it all comes together in your mouth really nice. This is a really delicious dish. Smoke, You've got all the different flavors of cheeses: the cheddar, the Colby, the Monterey, the Asiago. Even that stinky cheese tastes all right. Well, you made it to the end. You might make it to the end of another one of my videos. Why don't you check one of those out below? Take it easy.